order for our regular meeting on Monday, January 27th. Once again, Ms. Clifford, may we have the prayer, and give us our 30 seconds for this.
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here tonight. As everybody here has concerns that are near and dear to their heart and our livelihood here on James Island and the services and how they affect us. Please guide us that we will listen to each other with respect and honor time constraints and find a way to resolve problems so that we can have peaceful and intelligent discussion. I would also like for you to bless us on our way home tonight, to keep these issues in the forefront of our minds, to do the research, and to come back and have an even more fruitful engagement the next time. I would like to have 30 seconds of silence for anyone on James Island that may have gone home to you, and for the prayer of your family so that they find peace and comfort in their hearts. If anybody knows of anyone, please say their name if you'd like us to pray for them. Ryan Henderson's father.
Can we have the pledge now?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Myself will speak in a few minutes, sign and remain in breath. May we have the Freedom of Information Act?
Yes, Freedom of Information Act. In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of this meeting and its agenda were provided to all news media and persons requesting notification.
It's fine. All right, then we have the roll call.
Absolutely. Commissioner Brown Crouch. Commissioner Clifford, here. Commissioner Engelmann.
Here.
Commissioner Laughlin.
Here.
Commissioner Platt.
Here.
Commissioner Poston.
Here.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Our next item is oral and written petition. Now, I do want to say, we don't respond to that because we're listening to your concern. But we, of course, have our own opinion. So we want you to speak, and if you need someone to respond back, we address it there, and the chief civil of the district manager will respond. All right, do we have anyone signed in to speak?
Susan Milliken.
And we will hold you to 3 minutes. After that, we throw free.
Do you have the public comment on it as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, my name is Susan Milliken. I'm a PSD customer. I live at 762 Fort Sumter Drive. Just quickly about your retiree benefits. You all were batting around different statements about state employees elsewhere and Berkeley County employees, Cypress Garden employees elsewhere. An employee who does fire, trash, and sewer is not in the same category as any other employee. Their family bears the brunt of this work. Their grandchildren bear the brunt of this work. It's an entirely different profession. And one of the reasons these gentlemen and ladies do this job is for the benefits. And I was shocked to be here in December and hear that you might amend that or change what you have. What I saw, it would take me a very long time to understand, but I certainly wouldn't change anything for any employees who are here now from what you have now. And the use and rate ordinance, I've already mentioned, I wish that you would defer that. If you're going to mention developers, what developers may or may not need to do, I think that would, the place for that is to be embedded in your use and rate ordinance, and the language that you have is very weak. What's becoming very clear to us, and what we've seen in the past, is that with every new development, they ask the PSD, or you guys have to write a letter and say that you'll do the tie-in, or you'll provide output service, the service you provide for the new development. We're all paying for the new development. So when we go to state senators and we go to General Assembly members, they tell us home rule, local rule. Your public service district can address these issues through ordinance. If it's going to be the use and rate ordinance where y'all can address that, we wish you would slow down on it and perhaps not put the brunt on current residents for the cost of upgrades for new development. The Central Park Road corridor is an example of that, where we have aged drainage system, aged stormwater and sewer systems that need to be upgraded, but the city is just moving full speed ahead on developing that area. We're all paying for the upgrades there. Lastly, I'm very concerned about the sale of the Dills Bluff property. And if, obviously my time is maybe up, I don't know, but the sale of the Dills, okay. I guess
Do it next time.
are you gonna vote on this tonight?
No, it's not on.
It's on the agenda, but
Just
we will
discuss
talk
it.
about it.
Okay, I'll address that later,
Okay.
thank you.
Ms. Posey.
I'm sorry, Franny Hinchey.
Hi, again, I'm Franny Henty, 615 Oak Street, and then I'd like to second that, for the firefighters, especially the people that are risking their lives, they deserve the benefits. I mean, that's just like, to me, seems common sense. And I hope that y'all can rectify that and make that right for them and their families. Again, please promulgate higher standards for your tie-ins. The Sandy Sin said that Dave Hoffman told her that we are riddled with leaks in Central Park, okay? The sewage is a problem there, we know this. Met with U.S. Congressman Joe Cunningham, the gentleman that lived, Derek Wade out there on Up the Hill Road, like only 30% of the time can he swim in the Ellis Creek. And I don't know what's causing it, Plum Island. I know some of it is contributing, to the leaky pipe system that we have. And what it says, Lisa Belford should be paying for it. And then the other thing too is, if you look on that, Thomas and Hutton 21 drainage basins, Central Park area is in the red, but the first one is in the queue is Dillsborough Road. And is that because the, James Island PSD is selling their 6 acres behind the dollar store, or where Smoky Oak is, to Pulte, a $1 million property that's worth $2 million. I mean, is that why that's in the queue? So that, I don't know. I mean, I like to see y'all get the money that you need to operate and be fair, like, to your employees and to yourselves and so forth. And I'll be praying for you guys. You got a big job. Charleston Water is going to be on Fox News tonight, actually. So we've got species crossing party lines above ground. That's not okay. Anyway, thanks.
Is there really a road named Up the Hill Road?
Yes, it is.
Up on the hill.
Yeah,
Up on the hill.
up the hill road. It's the dirt road behind where the old movie theater was, and there's Rivada.
Yeah?
Yeah, and if you go, it's a beautiful piece of property. The man can't swim anymore, he gets ear infections from swimming. And, God, I would hope that eat the fish out there.
Okay, Ms. Posey, anyone else?
Yes, Anna Zimmerman.
Hi, my name is Anna Zimmerman. I actually have the unfortunate address of Shortham Road on James Island, and I actually am currently paying taxes on a house that I can't live in for the last 3 years. And so I am the winner of 2 mortgages, which is not fun, huge flooding and all of those sort of things. But I'm here today because I attended a meeting at the library on Friday, James Island Library, and the library Joe Cunningham's staffers were hosting a meeting about the potential for federal involvement or help or this sort of thing. And the meeting really turned into more of a discussion about what's going on James Island. with some of these different projects and these sort of things that are going on. And we were told that this body requested $72,000. Sandy Sen told us this, $72,000 for some work to be done. And then Sandy Sen also told us that the priority for James Island was to do drainage on Dill's Bluff. And so I just find this a bit confusing, because when I look at the recent study that was done about all the different drainage basins, and it seems like the engineers did what they can when they they prioritize versus like what kind of soil sediments, elevations. I read all of this. They gave the different metrics, did their calculations to try to determine what might be priority areas, and the priority areas that they had was Central Park. And it really disturbs me what's going on at Central Park, maybe even more so than Shoreham. I mean, financially, James Island has not been good to me, but what's going on in Central Park, I'm an immunologist at the College of Charleston, and this idea of people having sewage in their houses it's unacceptable in this day and age. I've gone up there and knocked on people's doors, and so I'm really wondering if Central Park is a priority area, why, when we were hearing from Sandy Sen, was there no request for funding for projects over there? And when I read this report, which was a drainage basin report, I mean, all I could come up with was that yes, the study was done, stormwater management report, James Island drainage study, and there were metrics that were involved. We can agree on soil versus elevation versus this, but there were metrics that were, and they classified 1 and 2 as being Central Park and the creek. And then all the funding seems to be going for not to those areas. And so my sense was that I read more into the report that you have a page on number 5, which just kind of seems out of nowhere in this report, that says, the exact wording on page 5 was alternate projects. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's a bunch of stuff in Dill's Bluff there. And so I'm wondering if really the crux of this is that there is just no plan for James Island, and so this is like the easy pickings. And I'll just end with an analogy. I'm an immunology professor. I have a PhD in immunology. If I were to teach this to my students, an analogy that I might make is that James Island is much like a person, a body, and we have on Central Park, we have a brain cancer, and then we have liver problem going on here, but we're fixing the ingrown toenail. I just really wonder what the priorities are.
And we will have a second 3 minutes time frame, so if y'all want to stay to the meeting and sign in for the next one, feel free. Okay, can I have a motion to approve
Ms.
the
Spiegelman?
agenda?
We still have
Wait,
more
yep.
residents.
We've
Oh,
got 2
I'm
more.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Is this Keith Mayfield?
Yes.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I'm kind of watching people sign in on the cell phone.
Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm here. I'm with Twin Rivers Capital. We're a brokerage over on James Island on Ellis Oaks Avenue, and we've got a client that's looking for some vacant land to build a daycare. She's been in business on James Island since '97. She wants to remain anonymous at this time, just for the sole purpose. She's got families, that we don't want to raise any alarms if we're relocating. Her family might not be able to get there, but there's a piece of land behind the Family Dollar, 1.2 acres. I've got a tax map if anybody wants to see it. I think it's on the agenda tonight, number 12. But she's requesting the option to purchase that from the DSD.
Okay, there's one parcel of land, 6 acres, almost.
There's one parcel, there's 2 parcels. One is 1.2, I've got that here. She's involved in the community. She wants to be able to help provide families in the community some reduced tuition. I know often you have to put those out for public option for everyone, but with her being able to provide for the community and then maybe work in hand with some of the local families, we thought maybe we could give her a stab. I've provided some comps to Meredith. There's been no offer that we're placing now, just your consideration of possibly helping this user find a great piece of land. It's a little bit more than just your average daycare. She does quite a bit of kind of a nature preserve for children in a way, organic foods, gardens, things of that nature. So she goes a little bit above what your typical education might be. And I think it would be a great fit for that piece of land back there. So if anybody would like the tax map, I've got 8 of them. I think that would be quite enough. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer after the meeting. So I appreciate your all's consideration. I'll just put these right here.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Appreciate it. I'm sorry, nobody has that.
We have one more,
One more.
Nathan Johnson.
Good evening. Name is Nathan Johnson, 862 C Fairway, Charleston, James Island. We were talking a minute ago about the insurance. The children are not always paid for through the entire process when a person retired. According to people, it falls off at age 26. They fall off, policy. Premiums are paid by the employee. I think the district pays a portion of it, but not all of it. But the employees pay the premiums too, so trying to change that would cause conflict. New employees should be a part of any changes that you are planning to make. At least let them have an input on these ideas. I understand it's not final, stuff like that, but employees should have some type of input in the changes that are being looking at being made about them. There's also a part about grandfathering, for those who've been here for some time. We need to look into that as well, but I'm sure that can and will be a legal matter about having that change and that may affect them. Remember that good employees stay at a job longer because of benefits, because the benefits are good. Also, the use and rates that we're talking about, I don't know if people understand, but with PSD, if the city of Charleston go up on their rates, we have to go up on ours to stay in matching, keeping things, I guess, at the same level. So if there's not a rate increase and the Charleston will go up on theirs, then we'll be in the red and they'll be in the black. All right, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda items. There are 6 of them.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion was Clifford, second was Wilkins.
And discussion.
Yes.
I just have one request for a change on number E. Instead of saying the majority of the vote for such and such, I'd like to say actual numbers of the vote.
Change that one item, please.
Was that on the election?
E, yes.
Special commission meeting, January 13th, that one?
Mhm.
We will fix that one item. Any other discussion? We need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
and Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so much. Item number 5 is the district management report. Mr. Seabolt.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to first, before we get the management report, introduce firefighter Scott Lenz. He's one of our new firefighters that started this month. And we also have 5 that started the troop school today. So once they are out, we'll bring them in as well. So 12 of them.
How many positions are we low now?
Well, if we don't consider the 5 that are in school, we have 8 open. So truly we'll have 3 if everybody's successful.
Where are you from?
From Phoenix originally, I've been here about 2 years.
You have to grow gills, Cliff.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Everything looks good on the management report. I'll entertain any questions that that you may have or direct them to the appropriate department head. The expenditures are also attached for the invoices from 12/1 to 12/31. And entertain questions on that if anybody has any.
Mr. Wolfman.
Hey, just one question, Chief. On the front page, you've got two little blurbs there that say that includes some $140,000 from Charleston County and capital needs proceedings. Which line item are those numbers included into?
James?
If you rate where the line starts, the highlighted line starts, but I'll get her to put an arrow moving forward to point you back to that. It'd be the total revenues for that month, or the total inclusions, yes, yes, sir.
Any further discussion?
That would also be where the general fund would be.
Right, right.
Anything else? No? Good. Okay, number 6, motion to adopt proposed changes in youth rate ordinance. Can we have a motion and a second?
Make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Woolsey, seconded by Ms. Pope. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I take a note from a cross-section of the community that suggests that it would be prudent maybe to revisit one or two conditions that I'm persuaded by the comments of the board of directors.
Madam Chairman, I spoke to Chip about this during the break, and maybe he can talk to this part about the development may or will or shall.
Well, the way that I read the ordinance, as drafted, the developers are paying for the infrastructure for their developments. They may or may not be asked to pay for upgrades that affect the downstreams. The developers are carrying the burden of the cost as it relates to their infrastructure. You have a development that's 3 hours away from a development that's 150, because obviously the developer was doing 150 house neighborhood, it's gonna have a much greater impact on the system than the developer that's having 3, depending on when the impacts are seen, where those lines are in the schedule as far as being refurbished. You know, it may or may not be the developer's sole responsibility, so that's why the word may as opposed to will or shall is included to give some discretion.
Any other discussion?
This would be a question, I guess, for Mr. Hudson. Are we under any kind of time constraints on making sure that our changes that they made before anything is coming up or for the budget, or, I mean, are we under any immediate time constraints?
Just for the budget, for that's why we're doing it early. But as far as the developers paying, they also pay a cap and impact fee on everything they put in, which we get money for that. And to talk about if there needs to be an improvement to the system beyond what the developer puts in, we don't have the language in the ordinance right now to make them do that. That's why we put that into the ordinance, so that they would be responsible for any upgrades above what is needed for the capacity of the system to make that system work.
And the time constraint is the budget. The proprietary fund budget is based off the approval of that.
So we're not looking at anything that has to be signed, so it goes to the state or to the insurers or anything like that. This is just internal time constraint.
Correct. And but the budget figures for next fiscal year are based on those rates. Thank you.
I just want to say, during last year's budget hearing, that came up, and they said, oh, you'll just approve it, we'll bring it back in October to discuss. Well, that's another, it was till January now, and it hasn't been brought back. I don't approve of it, I I'm sorry, I'm the chair, I'm supposed to just agree and say yes and go on, but I can't do that.
Madam Chairman, I had actually written, somebody an email about this, because I was kind of confused about, we have a late fee and then a non-payment fee. Well, what the heck is the difference there? It looks like there's one and the same to me. Is the non-payment like somebody who leaves town and doesn't pay their final bill, or is that for somebody who has a late fee and a $50 fee? Somebody explain that to me.
I wanna add real quick, cause I don't think in my, since 1979, had a late fee. In November, I paid my bill 1 day late. I had to pay the $10 late fee before I could pay my 1 day late payment. And I just happened to look that day and said, oh goodness, I have to pay my sewer bill. Why would I pay $10 for 1 day? And I will say, when we tapped into sewer, we tapped in at 12 o'clock on the last day. Had to pay a $1,000 tap-in fee. That was in 1979. And it was $16 a month, and now my sewer bill averages $80, $85. There's less people in my house now than there was in 1979. I don't agree with the rates. I'm sorry. They're just too high. We got a lot of people on this island that are getting by on a non-livability wage, and we just seem to be tapping them in. You pay more, you pay more. I can see almost a $10 late fee, but not the other $50 you paid. That doesn't seem right to me.
James, or somebody explain that $50 non-payment of service fee.
So your bill goes out the first of the month. I'm James, the CFO. Your bill goes out the first week of the month. And so it's actually due when you get it. It's due when you get it, and we're giving you 30 days for the last working day of the month is when it's due. I think somebody said the 27th. It's not always the 27th. Could be the 30th. I think this month it is Thursday the 30th, last working day of the month. At that point, you've had 30 days or 25 to pay your bill. If you haven't, you get a $10 late fee, just like any other municipality. If you haven't paid it by the 30th at 5 o'clock, it says on your bill it's a $10 late fee, and those are applied on the 30th at 5 o'clock. You go into 45 days, which is 15 days into the next billing cycle, your second bill has gone out, and at 45 days you have not paid, you get a $50 non-payment fee if you have a balance. Because there's a cost for David and his staff to go out at that point and shut your service off. There's a cost associated with that, and that's where the $50 comes in. It's associated with that cost to go out and shut you off.
So it doesn't kick in at the same time.
It does not kick in at the same time. One's at the end of the month, $10, and the $50 is when you have not paid it. Now you've not paid 2 bills, basically, and you get a $50 fee.
Well, I do want to add, since you're giving us 30 days, half of my tax bill goes for James Island Public Service District. Well, I haven't been given anything.
Well, the tax bill has nothing to do with the rates. The rates are 2 separate issues,
I'm still
right?
saying you haven't given me anything
Right.
because, you know.
And you gotta remember what we're billing you for, not to cut you off, but what we're billing you for in December, you used that sewer from your CWS bill in September. So we're actually 2 to 3 months behind already based on your water, and we've already paid for that service. We're billing in arrears 2 to 3 months.
You were the one that told me, because most of my water bill every month now is filling the pool, water in the yard. Then y'all said, ooh, go down to CWS and get a special meter for that. Sure.
Right.
$500 for the fee, and then we gotta go pay the plumber to hook it in,
Right.
and then once a year to come back for them to check that we see that. So I simply don't get it.
I don't know if you got anything to add to that meter, David, or water meter, or?
Well, that's how we base our bills, and that's how we charge people.
Yeah, but I'm not saying.
And in a public forum, I don't think you mind me saying, we've got $500,000 in receivables out there. We've got $500,000 that's due to the district because people don't pay their bills. So it's not a small number, it's a huge number, and that's why those fees are impacted. And we've heard CWS doesn't do it, SC, they all do a fee and a late fee, and we're very comparable. When our rate study was done, it was compared to, you saw a chart with all the districts, all the sewer and water, and those fees were compared across the board. We're not higher, and we're not lower, right in the middle of all those.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner
The
Brown?
motion-
Sorry,
I'm sorry, the motion to adopt proposed changes to the use and rate ordinance. second final reading.
Alright, Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifton,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
No.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
No.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-2.
Yes, ma'am. Number 7 is a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the JIPSD to apply for the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund, starting for loans from the State Water Pollution Control Revolving Loan Fund. Do we have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Second, discussion on this? No discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Number 8 is a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing a petition to Charleston County Council to approve the incurring of a general obligation debt of the district in the amount not exceeding $8,500,000. Motion for this?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion is covered, second, enforced. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Number 9, the motion to award pump stations 22 and 34 upgrade project to Bishop and Sons Plumbing and Piping. Motion for this?
Make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Clifford and Ms. Poston second. Any discussion on this? Roll call.
I was just gonna ask, this will increase the capacity on these pumps?
Yes, it will.
Fine. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Number 10, the motion to change solid waste construction and demolition and bulk item pickup lines. And we have a motion on this.
Make a motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I would, like if Walter could tell us a little bit about.
Sure.
Go into a little more detail about this for us.
Absolutely. If you read the, I gave it,
I'm sorry, will you tell everybody who you are? Sorry.
My name is Walter Desmond, I'm the Director of Solid Waste Services. Sorry. The handout I gave you, the packet with the email I sent out to all of you, there's some numbers in there. If we don't, these are projected numbers, if no changes are made to the current ordinances. And also Ms. Poston has been kind enough to have discussions with me about this, so she's pretty well in the loop of what we're up against here. There's a 14,280 projected miles. That's with 17 miles added to the round trip per truckload. We average about 70 trips a month up there. That's about almost 3,000 extra gallons of fuel that we're looking at. And that's a conservative estimate because I can't really predict how busy it can get out there. It's hard to say, month to month how busy it's gonna be. So I consider these pretty conservative estimates. The projected extra fuel cost is,
You might, I'm gonna give, just the public a little background on that.
Sure.
Bees Ferry landfill, which is where we've been able to take our solid waste forever, seems like, is now put us on notice that they are at capacity. So they're telling us, you have to find someplace else to take.
just that type of debris. They're still taking our garbage, but that.
But the household items such
bulk
as the
items,
mattresses, all the
yeah.
stuff that you see sitting outside when people clean out their garage, or maybe the whole garage too sometimes, but
Yes.
that's what they're talking about.
Yes. And that's, again, we had very short notice. I mean, I think I had about 6 days to consume all that, and right now we're doing what we need to do, but again, you're looking at a 6% increase overall in fuel, and that, and again, that's a conservative estimate, it's very hard to predict the tonnage that's out there. The other problem we have, and I think that most of you can attest to this, you've seen it, we have a problem with private contractors out there that are being paid to do jobs, they're putting debris in the curb. It's impossible to catch all of them, so I feel like restricting the amount will rein that in. If you can't, if you're only allowed to put a little bit out, I mean, you can put it a little bit out for 6 weeks, or you can get a dumpster. That's really what it's gonna help with that also. We are asking for 2 bulk items per week, or 96 gallons of construction and demolition debris, which is the equivalent of a pretty good claw scoop, or what you could fit into your garbage can. And, again, reducing trips to the landfill. I mean, we're actually budgeting for a piece of equipment this year. Instead of 3 trucks doing it all day, we're gonna have 1 do it. We should be able to do it with 1. And we should be able to control the cost that way, hopefully. I don't believe that the county's done yet. I don't know what's going on down there. I've heard rumors flying around all over the place. I don't really want to elaborate anything because I can't confirm anything. But, there are some changes coming down the pipe with the landfill, and I think that we need to prepare for that and head as much of this, head this off the pass, so to speak, as much as we can.
Well, and not to mention consolidating the trips. Cuts
Exactly.
down on the time
Yep.
that the guys are at risk on the road, they hit a pothole, something flies out, hits the car behind them, and then they wanna sue the district for
You're
whatever.
exactly right, and that's less wear, it's not just fuel, it's wear and tear on vehicles. Now I have to worry about trucks breaking down on 26, now I have to, it's a lot more, they said, well, it's only 17 miles, well, there's a lot more to it than that,
It takes twice as much time. I know.
Exactly,
From 1 hour and 15 minutes, it's now
You know,
2.5.
For the county to say it's only 17 miles is a pretty broad statement. But the other thing, again, consolidating it to 1 truck will be very helpful. And I appreciate the commission's support on this. And I think if we can reduce the amount out there, we'll be fine.
Mr. Lofton, you have a
Oh,
question
yes,
for
sir.
Mr. Desmond?
Yes, I do. You noted on here that City of Charleston will continue doing, or are we gonna be doing the same thing as this?
Well, our regulations are the same. I wanted to mimic what they do as much as possible. We don't wanna take the service away from the people that are legitimately using it. So that's why we decided that, but we wanna stay as close to the other entities as far as the amount that's allowed out there, just to keep it, stay competitive, so to speak.
Have you done any conversation with Goodwill or any of those about things, whether leave furniture out or?
Our campaign with this is gonna be reuse, recycle, repurpose. And, we're gonna promote that very heavily for the next month. And we're also, that's what we'd like people to do. We wanna get them out of the habit of just saying, let's just throw it on the curb, the PSD will get it. We're gonna promote that heavily.
Is that gonna be in out of that date?
We have a draft letter in front of you also that we'll be sending to the public. I ask for all of your input, if there's something you wanna see added to that, or changed, or just let me know, send me an email, and we'll get it done. We'll put whatever you'd like in there. If there's something that you think is pertinent to the cause.
Just real quick, will you let everyone know what the rough dimensions are of 96 gallons?
It's a claw scoop, it's a closed claw scoop.
So 4x4?
Yeah, I would say a 4x4 pile. You can base it on, if you can fit it in your garbage can, if I was putting exactly 96 gallons up there, I'd put it in my garbage can and just lay it on the ground. And, I think we'll get some kickback from this, but I think that, from a financial standpoint, and, we wanna keep wear and tear down in vehicles. We wanna keep, we wanna keep our operating costs level. I think we've done a great job doing that the past few years. And again, we have to control the people that there are residents out here and there are contractors out here that are abusing us. And I think that's what we really need. I think that's what this will really, really help with.
Mr. Platt?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Desmond, first a question, from the comment. Question is, would Charleston County, accept the man-made debris of municipalities for payment? And if so, would such a payment be less than what the cost you would incur along the driving and all?
I don't think that that's an option at this point. I don't think it's, they're running, they claim they're running out of room, and, you know, my argument is that's fine, but you can't tell me that you didn't know that a year ago. I mean, you know, that's, I think there's more going on down there than meets the eye. I just don't have any of those details yet. They've been very, very scarce, very sparse with what information they're giving me, and they're not really, divulging yet what's really going on. I've heard, like I said, I've heard some rumors floating around, but I don't wanna say anything without absolute confirmation that those things are happening, but.
Well, you answered my question, so my comment would be, the logic of allowing residents individually to take debris there and prohibiting municipalities, because what the municipalities will be taking is generated by residents for the most part, surely. So that differentiation puzzles me.
I agree. I mean, I think, go ahead.
I think what the residents take is a drop in bucket compared to what Walter takes. I mean,
agree.
I actually take my own stuff.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, but it's a principle of a thing.
Well, I think pretty soon we might see the residents cut off. And another thing, I believe these, other landfills that you go to, you can't just be a homeowner driving in there.
No.
Yeah.
The facility where we're at now, Pine Grove, I think it's called, is it's owned by Republic Services, one of the big shots in the business, you know. I worked for them for many years, and they're, it's all commercial, what they consider commercial tonnage going in there. There's no residents or allowed.
Really restrict, I used to be able to drive my truck to the top, there was a great view up there. But now you have to have a county or a commercial vehicle, just homeowners just aren't allowed to wander around.
They've actually put a convenience center down there with a ramp where you can drive up and throw it into a big container. I was down there today looking around, I hadn't been there in a while, and they've changed up a lot of things, and, but, yeah, I hear what you're saying, it makes no sense to me either. I mean, you can allow them to take it there, but you're not gonna allow me to haul it there. But I don't know the logistics of all of it at this point, and it just hasn't been shared with me, so.
That's the one south of here, right?
I'm sorry?
Bees
That's the
Ferry.
one south of here.
Bees Ferry, yes.
No, not Bees Ferry, the Piney Grove.
No,
No, it's
that's,
in North.
that's in North, it's almost in Ladson, it's on,
Like
and that,
Commerce Parkway.
yes, and that's the other problem, that road is called Ashley Frustrate for a reason. I try not to send any trucks there after 2:30 because.
Trains and
I don't
traffic.
know exactly, I don't know what's gonna happen. I sent the truck there at 6:30 in the morning, he got back here at 8:45. I mean, that's unacceptable to me, that's a ridiculous
Dustin,
turnaround.
you're the only one that ask a question, you have something you wanna ask, or you?
Well, no, because I've had several discussions with them, and so I already have all of this information, you know.
I just have one final comment, so the pickup schedule doesn't change,
Nope.
just the amount does. So just like, you know, was the movie Shawshank Redemption, he dug his way out one spoonful at a time.
Yeah,
So what, you have to
exactly.
reduce what you put on the curb if you're not gonna repurpose it, but then you might be saving yourself a big backache later too, cause then you're not trying to do the big haul out there.
Exactly.
And it ain't gonna go nowhere once it is out there.
And it's, you know, you're not gonna, you know, the hope is that we're not gonna drive in the neighborhood and see a huge pile. I mean, it's gonna, we don't, it's an eyesore until I get there.
Oh, I live in
And,
Centerville, and 2 streets over, it looked like somebody tore down a house to put a house
Well,
there, and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah,
You
and
can't tell
that's-
me that grandma did this by herself.
No, I hear that, believe me.
That was my
I've had
house.
that.
Okay, they were doing similar at my old house.
I got a feeling that, I see these whole houses out on the curb, and I got a feeling that somebody, the landlord kicked them out, they didn't know that or
Yes.
whatever. And to me, that landlord is a commercial operation.
I agree.
And that landlord needs to do something with that stuff.
I
Now,
absolutely
fortunately, a lot of
agree.
people pick through that before y'all get there.
Yeah,
But,
Makes it bigger.
I just feel like we ought to say if it's a rental property, you throw them out, you haul that stuff off. And there are companies that do this.
yes, I've had an issue with the same resident at least 3 or 4 times, down off of Lee Jackson. He lives on one of those side roads. He owns a rental property there. He's had 3 evictions in the last 3 years. I finally had to go up to him and say, this is not my responsibility. You have 24 hours to get it out of here. And that's unfortunately
One
that,
thing,
you know.
I read your letter, I would like one other everything
Sure.
added if possible, is to stress that they separate their stuff. I went by house the other day, he had a mattress and 30 bags, sleep bags, and wood all thrown on the same pile. And I really think you need to put that in your letter.
We will, that's something we can add to that, not a problem. And we will define what a bulk item is, we will put a definition of what the material that we accept is.
So again, most of these
Any
are.
further discussion?
Just as an option, a lot of times you'll see a service company where, like the water or the electric or whatever, they leave a tag on the door. I know that's slowing your guys down, but if we were to say, okay, we're not gonna pick this up until it's separated correctly, or we're not gonna pick this up until you've got the proper.
We do that now.
We
We have
do that
yellow
now.
tags, if you have a yellow tag on your pile, it's because it's either not separated properly, and there's a host of issues that you can check off on there. You have a big red tag on your pile, and you're really in trouble.
So then, well, maybe if, you know, go through the colors of the rainbow and that ain't doing the trick, then maybe after the red tag, then they start to get fined for it.
And that's, an option we're gonna have to look at.
Unless they can put up something like, you know, some extenuating circumstance, because not one shoe fits all people, so.
Exactly, and, I think that what we're doing here, I mean, there'll be some backlash, but I think in 6 months it'll be an ancient memory, and people will just get used to doing what we're asking them to do, and again, we're not ending the service, we're just modifying it, so.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Roll
much.
call vote now, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 11 is wastewater sewage leaching, Ms. Poston.
Alright, and so, as you all know, actually given, several, reviews, interviews we've done on the last couple of months, and people who have come and, spoken with this. We are going to be talking about this at Intergovernmental on Wednesday, but, the whole issue with flooding, sewage, all of this. And so, we just, want to make sure that we get as much information from Mr. Humpin. He's been very informative and giving me updates, but that we really, really try and move forward on this, and make it very publicly known what the issues are, how we are going to be handling it, and try and move forward with that, because it has become a really, really big problem.
I do understand, I think we should just turn over Mr. Hoffman and run him out of town.
Well, he's wonderful.
But to me, if you have an act of God, I don't really have you blanket say it's the PA, not you. Because you got develop, especially in the corner of, Dills Bluff and what's that road, Sean? Side road by the church. On Dills Bluff, by the pump station.
You mean Camp Road?
Dills Bluff, I mean Central Park, I'm sorry.
Like
You know,
swimming.
you get all that construction just non-stop, you can't build from every square inch of this island. Because somewhere the water's gonna back up, if it's not, that was rivers and things, but, I don't think anybody, and I really heard it the last time, Mr. Hawkins to blame. I don't see, because he's as active as he can be with these new pump stations and all.
You have to tell the city that,
And I would like to also, that's why when being interviewed and discussing this, I said, part of it is because of our location, overbuilding, overdevelopment. That is obviously nothing that, Mr. Huffman has any control over. And Charleston, water system, they also use Plum Island, and we don't have any control over it. So that is another issue. And, but again, yes, we are the ones that get a lot of blame. That's why we need to have this discussion, make sure, that we all,
I would like to see him given the time to put this pump station in, this needs just seem to be running as fast as it can run. So I think we need to allow him the time to do that. All right, I'd like to go on to, Mr. Platt.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Been waiting for this opportunity. I don't think any reasonable person has a problem to find work in the wastewater department. in my opinion, the problem is essentially the continued, and slow down a little bit because it's running out of land, but the continuing environmental development. And when I brought this up in the past and suggested that the James Island Public Service District should withhold, at least delay, granting these permits, it's always, the majority opinion has always been that we couldn't do that because of the provisions and the federal back loans. However, this becomes an emergency. Obviously, it's an emergency situation. What I would like to request, Madam Chair, is that you ask council to look into the possibility of getting an exception from that requirement to give everyone permission to tie in who wants to. And if you would do that, I would appreciate, and I think a lot of members of the community would appreciate council's finding being shared in an open session.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to speak to some of this issue. A lot of this has to do with the pollution in James Island Creek. You remember last summer, there was a huge leak on Harborview Road. Thankfully, it wasn't us, but we helped them fix it. And a few weeks after that, all the people that were concerned about that, civic leaders, there was, we went downtown to Charleston Water Works building and had a huge meeting. I think it was about 35 people. Mr. Hoffman and I were there, some of his staff were there. There were politicians, mayors, and everybody else there. DHEC people were there, and Waterkeeper people were there. Well, Waterkeeper and DHEC have been going up and down James Island Creek looking for a smoking gun. And they would have loved to have found one, because if they found one of our pipes broken, we would have fixed it by now. And basically, they said they couldn't find exactly what's causing the pollution. They couldn't blame us. They couldn't bring CPW. They couldn't find sewer pipes broken. They couldn't find people with septic tanks leaking. At one point, they even said it could be a lot of it, like there's a homeless encampment behind Harris Teeter. They thought that was the problem. Deer, raccoons, dogs. And they said it could be a leak, but they can't find it. Whose leak it is, I don't know. But I'm very tired of people blaming us when Waterkeepers, a private organization, has not blamed us. DHEC has not blamed us or found any problem that we caused. Yeah, we had leaks. We had a little issue on Central Park Road, 5,000 gallons, which when you pump 1 million gallons a day, 5,000 doesn't sound like a lot. But our staff was there, they knew about it, they knew the problem was gonna happen. They disinfected the area, and there was no evidence that that particular leak got down to that creek, because we were on top of it. We knew that rain was coming. And our staff is on call 24/7, and anybody calls them, if they find there's a problem, if they anticipate a problem, they are there on the spot and they're watching it. But when it's gonna overflow, it's gonna overflow. And it's mainly stormwater getting into our system by accident. We don't want it in there. It's getting in there, if we knew how, we would fix it. We've got some proposals. We've asked Sandy Sim for some money to put these plastic covers underneath the metal things because they're not watertight. And they're like $45, $50 each. We're gonna be doing that. When we just approved, I guess, to spend more money to build a bigger capacity pump station. We've just finished putting a brand new big pipeline across the marsh, and that's gonna handle that problem too. But I also want to point, all this development we're talking about is not in our jurisdiction. That Maybank one, and I will tell you, I was there when they were putting in their stormwater thing. All their stormwater goes into an underground storage under those buildings and parking lots. It's not these new developments. The stormwater police are on these people on these new developments to prevent that stormwater, and new county ordinance says you can't have it running off in somewhere else. And I don't like the development, I was happy with the forest there and the birds and bees there, but, you cannot stop development. There's been court case after court case. When you try to stop it, they take you to court and the judge says it's their property and it's zoned for that, they can do that. And our enabling ordinance says nothing in it that we can control development. That's not our job, that's the municipality's job to control development. And we will get sued, I guarantee you, if we told somebody we're not gonna put in a tap. They will take it and they will win. And, but that is not our job. You people need to go to the city and the town and the county and tell them.
Okay, thank
Madam
you.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
may I respond?
Yes.
I do not disagree with the syllable of what Commissioner Wilsey says, but I still think it would be appropriate for council to research the possibility of to slow things down and maybe even whether we'd have the prerogative to sue, for example, the city of Charleston, which continues to permit these huge developments, which affect the quality of life for everyone around. And on a philosophical note, maybe, I often think about the brave Spartans that the passed Thermopylae over 2,000 years ago. The Persian hordes were invading. The Spartans outnumbered maybe 40-1, but they stood at the pass and they fought until the last man. Maybe Commissioner Wilson is right. We can't stop, but we can take an honorable stand and see what happens.
Alrighty. Let's move on to number 12, sale of the Dills Bluff property in Clifton.
Well, so as we have had discussion, in the past year about this property, I know there was someone who approached us, they, did not share what the developments would be, but they wanted to purchase the entire space of land. We also, discussed, possibility of us moving over to, different land, but, as you know, Keith,
Mayfield.
thank you, I knew it was an M, I apologize, but yes, he contacted me recently, about the commercial space as he spoke about, and Alan Laughlin, Commissioner Laughlin, if you'll please pass those papers, he sets in front of you. But, because of what this space would be, all the information he was able to give me, what they would want to be doing, it would be very, fitting in that area. I have a lot of family and friends who live in that, the neighborhoods surrounding it. And the people I know who I spoke with, they would not have a problem with such a type, commercial space, being used in that regard. One of the things that's very beneficial, it, as he was saying, it's kind of a green, let's keep things very, organic and farming and doing, keeping it nice. So it would be one of the better of many possibilities to possibly be able to, get some money that we may really be needing, and that space, that is one of the better things than other things that could be proposed. And I spoke with, Commissioner Woolsey regarding this, a week or so ago, and she thought it the same. She was saying, actually, yes, a, nursery school, that's more environmentally sound would be way better than many things that could be built there.
I think Attorney Chip would tell any of us, we're obligated to get a true appraisal of the property and put this little sign out front that says for sale.
Absolutely.
If you come make us a bid, to me, within 80% of that, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, I love what they did on the cross-town now. But what if we have an anti-children's person out there who wants to buy that 1.2 acres?
I'm anti-children, but I'm I can't be around children.
Over 47 years anti-children, but I think we have an legal obligation. Get an appraisal through us, not somebody else's friend's appraisal. Get a true appraisal, put the sign on it, and take offers, bring it back to this board and say, okay, We have 1, 2, 3 offers. This one's reasonable, this one's more reasonable, and we like the conditions of this one. I mean, we really have a legal obligation to do it that way.
Absolutely, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and bring it up, so that we would be able to then move forward in the total legal way as needed. So that if we wanted, you know, if we're considering selling this property, which we've discussed, myriad times in the past year since, you know, I've been serving as commissioner, then I think that it's time for us to perhaps do that, because yes, we can't say, oh, yes, you made this proposal, here, let's go, you know, I'm saying, but yeah, I've spoken with people, one person or time with them, who said, you know, I know, like, what would you think if we, you know, all of the possible things being developed there, not just this, just about things being developed in that
Well,
area.
the other parcel of land there, it's over $2 million appraisal on that. Somebody offered us $1 million. Would I sell you a $2 million parcel of land for $1.3 million? The answer's not just no, but you know what no. And we have an obligation even with that. And I think we can direct the chief, district administrator, to start checking in that, getting an appraisal that's good for us and anybody else. Because I think we're all open now at this point to selling the property, you know.
Not all of it.
Okay, well, not all of it, but I'm not opposed to selling property, but I wanna see what it's appraised for, and I want an offer that's not 1.3 million on a $2 million piece of property.
I totally agree.
We have a fiduciary duty to everybody to do that the right way. And I will agree to doing that. I think, you know, as a body, and next time we bring up the vote on it, tell the district manager, okay, you start getting appraisals and the actual map of it and everything, and we can consider it. Like I said, I can, in good faith, approve his, and I think he's a very nice man, very attractive man, nice to the guy. But, you know, we, like I say, you may have some anti-children people that wanna buy that piece of property and put a big fence around it saying, no kids allowed on this property. So once we fulfill our fiduciary responsibility, I'm probably on board with you guys about selling it.
Well, and that's why I had it put on the agenda as it is, not to, obviously, not vote, because you have to have it written a certain way. That's why I unfortunately had to vote against selecting Chief Seapolt, even though I think you're doing a wonderful job and I was wanting to vote for you. It's because of how it was on the agenda. And I remember saying that. I was like, because we have to do everything with total legal, like solidly done properly. And that's why I just wanted to bring this up and say, let's start moving forward with, you know, finding out, you know, getting appraisals and perhaps, you know, so that then, you know, this and other businesses that are interested in that space could discuss it.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you're a private seller of your own house, you know, you really, you were going for selling your house to make a profit and to relocate and do that. And I was wondering that too, that as a government agency or, you know, stature that we are, it's, you know, it's kinda like a double-edged sword. So you hold on to a piece of property that you're not using, which could be a liability, but then at the same time, you can't pick and choose who, you know, I don't think as much as you could in the private sector, who buys your house or whatever, and then you shouldn't do that because that's against, like, for lack of a better term, the discrimination, you know, laws and stuff like that. I mean, money's green, you know, and then it's to maximize the profit for the betterment of this organization. So, yes, and who's to say, and I don't think your friend would do this, or your friend's friend, or whatever, hey, we're buying it, we're doing it, oh, at the last minute, somebody offered her 10 times more than what she just paid for it, and now it's gonna be a, I don't know, whatever, something not what it was gonna be. But what was our say-so on that?
Well,
yes.
I think we've discussed it, Ms. Woolsey and I discussed it with Chip one night, because he said, oh, you know, if we sell that, we make this profit off of it, we could bring it down to Station 1. Not saying we're gonna do that, folks, so don't write me in the morning, but, you know, bring it down to Station 1, put the offices there, and move this to Station 1. But there's all possibilities.
So this is just opening up the discussion, kinda like we did in terms, okay.
Well, as for what goes there, this is under town of James Island, jurisdiction, and they would actually make the approval what goes there. And I don't think they have a problem with daycare. there's a massive shortage of daycare, and it's a good thing that we put these children somewhere, not at your house. But I also think too, that, we did have what I thought was a low, offer of 1.3 million for the entire piece, and we also need to look at it as a whole piece. I also think if we're gonna have to come up with, all this money for, retirement, we certainly can't afford to build a new office building on this spot, and we do have, like she said, the old fire station #1, property that's 1 acre, that if we really wanted to spend some money, we could tear that all down, put a new office there. But, you know, that's things, but I think we have to go through the procedure and put it, we can put a for sale sign up, do all that, and it's up, we'll vote on it again and decide whether we wanna sell it to so and such.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say if we want 2 million for it, and Attorney Chip will give us 3 million, we'd say, sure, you can have the 3 million. We're gonna weigh numerous things, we have a responsibility to our community.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't put a, you know, nightclub on the corner, forest corner, you know, it might not be bad, but I don't do nightclubs. But,
Those Baptists across the street ain't gonna have that either.
you're right. Okay, let's kind of move on to committee reports, thank you for bringing that up, and I'd like to put on the next.
Real quick, are you directing me to do an appraisal?
I would like to do that, can we do that without voting?
Yeah, you can, I mean, you're going to have to vote on anything to get an appraisal, so if y'all wanna move forward with seeing how much the property's worth, by all means.
That I would like to do, because you know, I'm in agreement of selling this, I can't believe the word just came out. But, we owe it to the people across the street, on the corner, behind them, who we sell it to.
Exactly.
And yes, I would like you to start that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
In the process of doing this appraisal, is it gonna have the soil testing? Is it gonna have the impacting on that, as far as the trees? We've already had a survey done in 2014, that you guys were shooting me down last year on even bringing it up to the commission. We spent $600,000 or no, that's wrong. We spent several $1,000s on getting the survey done, and it is a really detailed one.
If we haven't done, but, you know, we'll cross all that bridge once we start going to it, because they have to deal with us, and they have to deal with the tenant. I was told to my face, don't even plan on building a new administrative officer, we're not gonna approve your plans. And then I hear, it's my property, I can do what I want to do. But let's start the appraisal process, and whoever's in business to buy the property, they can help with, you know, that, but we'll cross that bridge once we get there. Okay, you got that?
Thank you, ma'am, yes, got that.
All right, now we're gonna go to committee and representative reports. The only thing I would ask is vote, not a book. Give us a brief reading of your meetings. Ms.
The
Wilson.
Council of Government, they really didn't have anything on the agenda that, really pertains to us. It had to do with mass transit and tri-county things, so it really not much to do with us. That's it.
That's great. But I mean, it's amazing to go to and it keeps you kind of like in the loop of what's going on about in your committee. Lead committee, Mr. Laughlin.
Well, Steve is gonna be bringing up as part of the budget program, I think I've got the numbers right. Where'd it go? There he is. I think I've got the numbers right, if I remember them, but, he's gonna be putting in for 5 new vehicles this year. 4 of them for solid waste, and 1 for, the fire department. And incidentally, that's the expensive one in the process. Those 5 vehicles over the past few years have cost the commission $573,000 of repair. Right now, they cannot get repair parts, because they're not being made anymore. Some of the ones for the fire department are from American or France, and we all know what happened to them. So what they're gonna be doing is asking for about $375,000 worth of vehicles. And that will cut our expenses on our repairs almost to zero for a while anyway, but that's gonna offset $500,000. And that's gonna do nothing but go up because of the fact that, they don't have the training here anymore, they don't have the material here anymore, and, some of the trucks are literally just falling apart. They have been welded and re-welded and re-welded so many times that it's running out of metal to work with. You'll be hearing more in the future.
Thank you. All right, the Ways and Means Committee meeting on the 21st. I will say, in my 12 years in politics, I've never had anyone say, this is gonna be 3 hours, and it was an hour and a half, because I almost needed ammonia to keep myself contained. It was very informative. I don't necessarily agree with them, but that's my opinion. But it was a good class. I enjoyed it. Okay, Ms. Clifford, your meeting today.
The administrative committee met today to discuss the options available for the optional retirement health benefit plans, to take care of our employees that have been loyal for countless years, and to look forward to the future of new hires and perhaps some tweaking of the distribution of those funds, who they cover, how, maybe in a staggered situation. There's several proposals that will be made, but I wanted to bring it out and once again reiterate that our rules are written now that we can have communication with the employees. There are no more walls up. If you've got something to say, please contact us and let us know, because we want to make a decision based on your feelings and the way it's gonna affect you too, because all y'all affect all of us. Thank you.
And I will say, having employees that feel comfortable calling us, emailing us, much better than it's been for years. I cannot believe there's no correspondence in newspaper articles, and I cannot believe an hour and 10 minutes on agenda item 15. Y'all are doing fantastic tonight. So, let's buy the oral and written petitions. 3 minutes.
You didn't have, go again?
Yes.
Or we have,
You're fine.
okay.
Yeah, but it costs extra.
Susan Milliken?
Yes, you know, one of the things that brought me here tonight is the fact that we had this meeting on Friday where Sandy Sin spoke about, I think she said a $100,000 request to upgrade or fix Dills Bluff Road drainage. When we look at the drainage basin report, which I don't know if y'all have seen it, I don't know if you're one of the entities that participated in it, was the county, the city, and the town. The drainage basins of the highest priority to fix are Central Park Road, James Island Creek drainage basin, which includes Linwood, Oak Crest, maybe runs into Pauline and Bradford, but not Dills Bluff Road. So I heard a big speech tonight about how we can't stop development, we can't control development, we'll be sued if we don't tie into new development. Well, what seems really odd is the sale of the land's on the agenda tonight. We hear lots of rumors in the community that Pulte is interested in putting some more $450,000, $500,000 homes there. Gosh, a daycare kind of goes into a new neighborhood there. You drive by and look at this incredibly expensive, elaborate boardwalk. Then all of a sudden we hear on Friday a Dills Bluff Road drainage study. When you look at the intergovernmental meeting agenda for Wednesday night, it says they're going to talk about other joint projects with drainage. That's no transparency. So we're really grateful to Sandy Sin for being an elected official who came and told us what all of y'all are talking about behind our backs. Because your constituents are also in Laurel Park. They're also out Central Park Road, where the worst problems are. They don't get a tax credit. They don't get any help with their drainage. So, when are you going to serve all your constituency, or is it just about the town? Is it just about serving Pulte? When we look, 3.6 acres to the north of the Pulte Preserve is owned by Dills Bluff HOA. Pulte transferred it to them for $1.
Okay.
Across the
Can
street,
we're up to
more
4 minutes.
Pulte, a daycare. You know, we don't have a problem with single-family homes that cost $450,000, $500,000. That's not affordable housing. But there's all these plans going on. There's all this involvement between the town and the PSD to make plans to encourage development. So there's a difference between assisting those who are in dire need, okay, and serving new development. So we will be watching closely. We will be going Wednesday night, and we will be asking for help for the consultant prioritized list of the worst drainage basins on the island, not the one where a drainage fix would support new development behind the Dollar General. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want 3 more minutes?
Sure, well, I have a couple things, so I'm the immunologist, I'll speak again.
Let me reset this for you.
Please state your name and.
Anna Zimmerman. So I'm an immunologist, and I just have to say that, you know, what I heard from people on Friday and what I have gone over and seen in Central Park, you have people with sewage in their houses who are sick, have been sick since Christmas. You know, we're talking to Joe Cunningham's office about looking at potential federal help. I mean, I don't live over there, but I have seen that this is not sustainable that's going on over there, and they really need some help. And there does seem to be a lot of, you know, blame of, it's the city, it's the town, it's this, but maybe your body could draft a letter to the city, draft a letter to the town of James Island, get some resources together. This is gonna have to be a team approach, and to think that it's acceptable for taxpayers to have, people talking about toilet paper in their yards, like, this can't, it's not gonna fix itself. So, you know, I just think sometimes, like, I mean, I don't live over there, but I certainly spent half of my day today looking up stuff, talking to people about what we had heard on Friday. And maybe it might behoove this body to really, I mean, you can look at studies and say this is a priority area, we're not doing it, but this is not sustainable over there. And if you wanna really think about lawsuits that are gonna happen, you know, you have people that probably at this point, if they've been sick since Christmas, and we're almost into February, with sewage, it somehow is gonna become a responsibility of someone, but it's more of a human rights issue to me, that, you know, you just can't ignore people that are over there and expect them that they have paid into infrastructure for over 30 years, and this is what they get, and it's, I mean, if everybody stands around and just blames everybody.
Time. Thank you for coming, though, I appreciate it. And we had, what, we don't respond to their comments, so.
Well, not a direct, but this is from Mr. Hoffman, this is an email that we
Yeah,
all got.
I wouldn't do that, we've never allowed it before, I wanted to comment
Wait till
on
after
that.
the meeting.
Say what?
He can wait till after the meeting.
I agree with that, because one night I was shut off from making a comment to a person, I thought the concerns were sincere. So I would like a motion at this point to go into executive
Do you have
session.
anybody else? Is there anybody else?
That's it, and
No one else has signed in.
Nathan,
Has
you need to
anyone
sign
else?
in?
You need to sign in. If you would like to speak, please sign in so that we do not miss you. Thank you. And we know for the
And same thing,
record.
if you wanna address them too, then you can provide them with a copy of her explanation
I
of
have to check with Mr.
how it
Hoffman
speaks
first.
to it, okay.
all right, Nathan, you can go ahead.
Yeah, just a few things here. The issue about the insurance policy. Our kids can be dropped off at age 26, so we don't have to worry about paying for the children, you know, as they get to that age, because they will be dropped off. So more than anything else, the spouse will probably still be there, but I'm still paying the policy as well. The other thing is too, is that, remember, benefits and stuff? That's why people come here, because the benefits are good. So when you start cutting those things and taking it away, I guess you'd be like everybody else, you got quick turnover. So that's why people come here, because we have great benefits, and, you know, they like working here as well, but when we change that, we'll be in competition with everybody else for this quick turnover for different employees, so keep that in mind. And also, the sale of the property on Dill's Bluff, I'm not in agreement with that, simply because we consider ourselves family. And I know maybe we can build a beautiful office building there that may accommodate all of the departments, but you all don't want water there. You're putting water out to the pasture. And I understand the community don't want garbage trucks there too, but, you know, we need to have a place where we all can be together. So, 2 different places, then you got, you know, a lot of expenses on upkeeps and buildings and stuff like that. And I don't know if anybody's been here during the flood? Anybody's been here during the flood? The last flood we had here? Back to the back door. How long these buildings gonna last? With this inundation all the time? How long is it gonna last? We can continue to stay until we rot down? We have to start thinking about plans and, you know, getting everybody to move to a better place because the public themselves have to truck through that lake we have up front as well. So please think about that, about the sale of the property. And the other thing is too, I just wanna say thank you to Ms. Woolsey. From hearing her speak tonight, it sounds like she had a clear understanding of what our wastewater department goes through and those things that we have to deal with. Thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
First from Ms. Hudson, second from Ms. Clifford. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Brown Crouch,
The description, need for, your statement seems to be, I don't know, pretty wordy, so wordy is, seems to be vague,
Well, I will tell you, when we come out of executive session, you will go, okay, it's very important. It is just for commissioners only, no staff, no district manager, it's just for commissioners only. And you will be informed during this executive session, it really is working. I know you always vote against it when I said motion to adopt, I said, Mr. Platt said no. Ms. Spivey, now can we have a roll call vote?
yes, Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Laughlin,
yes.
Commissioner Platt,
No.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
and Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1.
Okay.
I would ask for a 5-minute
Me
recess
too.
in between just to take care of business.
Okay, we're just gonna update the issues that Mr. Trinity, because I can't say it right now. Brewerton. Wow. And now, I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
Mr. Platt and Ms. Poston, we need a roll call vote to adjourn. Didn't we do that a few times? You want a roll call?
I can certainly do that. Commissioner Brown Crouch, Commissioner Clifford, Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Laughlin,
Good night.
Commissioner Platt,
Aye.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.